If you're anything like a lot of quilters, you've probably got a stash of fabric that you've bought over time because you love the individual pieces. But when the fabrics you've collected are so different and varied, how do you pull them together to make a cohesive mix that will look great in a quilt? Stick around because today I'm going to walk you step by step through creating a fabric mix, starting with 2 completely unrelated fabric prints. Hello and welcome back to another quilting video. I'm Olivia and today we're mixing fabrics. I have 2 opposite, unrelated, completely different fabrics here, and I'm going to use those 2 fabrics to show you my process on how I put together a cohesive quilt fabric pull. To make sure I didn't just pick 2 fabrics that I already knew I could blend well, I spread out a few piles of fabric on the table and asked my husband to pick one from over here and then to pick the most opposite he could find from over here. I was prepared to make him pick again if he happened to choose 2 from the same company to really make sure that the 2 fabrics were as unrelated as possible, but it didn't come to that. So this is what he gave me. So step 1 is to assess what you're working with. Straight away I can see a few ways that these 2 fabrics are opposites. We've got a medium scale white on colour geometric pattern and a larger scale more natural colour on white pattern. I know that these circles are perfect geometric circles, but the hand-drawn looking animals and the floral elements here, they make this read as more of a natural organic pattern than a geometric pattern to me. Step 2 is to isolate a colour scheme. Now this is definitely not going to give me my usual colour palette. So before I figure out which way I want to go, I know I have this fabric here in a different colourway. So let's just see if that will help at all. This is exactly the same except the blue here is replaced with the pink here. And this is such a peachy apricot kind of pink. I really don't see that helping, so bye. What jumps out to me first here is the red, obviously, and the green. These 2 are complementary, so they should look good together, but I mean, these 2 shades, look at that, they're just so Christmassy. Since this is not my usual wheelhouse, I want to go over to the Adobe Color Picker website. So if I open this up and I take the red here, we'll see what comes up and see what kind of inspiration it sparks. So just speeding through these options a little, I think the best way to go is this split complementary color scheme. It's got a red here with some blue and some green. The other options are not speaking to me at all. So if we come back to this one and we cut away the grays here and the browns, then we're left with just the greens and the blues and put it together with the red, I think it'll work. After step 1, assessing the starting point, and step 2, isolating a color scheme, we came to step 3, which is to find all the possible fabrics I could add in that color scheme. I looked through all the blues and greens I had and I discounted the immediate no's like the wrong kind of blue or the wrong pattern print. And so here's what I came up with. This floral is the first one that I definitely want. The flowers play really well with the floral elements over here. The blue is a little darker than anything here, but the green is quite close to this one. And I think overall it's a great match and a good first step. We don't need to match the colors exactly 100% for them to look good together. Then how about this blue? It's lighter, it's plain, which we need. Everything else has been patterned so far, that's good. Then we've got these 2 greens. This one and this one. I like them both, but I think we only need one of them. So I'm gonna take this one out and let's add this one back in. I don't really have a good reason for picking that one, but I think it looks good. Now there's these rabbits. I like these rabbits for a few reasons. The blue matches pretty well with the leaves here, and I like repeating the animal theme from here in a slightly more subtle way here. I had this one out. I do like that the lighter color here plays well with this one and this one, but overall I don't think it really adds anything, so not quite the vibe, and you can go. This green works well. It's the same collection as this one here, so that's not super surprising. I like that it adds another small print and another leafy organic pattern, and obviously the colors work, so that's cool. This one's another nice small print. It reads as more of a solid than this one, and it's also the same collection as this one, which I just realized. I also had this one from that same collection. I love this fabric, but it's so similar to this one, the exact same colors. I don't think it adds anything new, so bye. This one I like a lot. It's those same 2 colors again, but inverted. So we've got the blue on the white background. We haven't had a white background since this original one, so I think it's important to add that back in. I like that this one's another animal print. The blue works really well, but this red is much more orange than this. It's not quite right. So now the problem is if we take this one away, this selection is great. I really like this. I like the way it's headed. but this is obviously very out of place. So we need to bring that into the whole more. So that brings us to step 4, assess what's missing and pivot if you need to. As I was collecting the blues and greens to go through, I made another pile of other colored fabrics that could potentially maybe work. So now I'm going to go through that, see if we can pull it together more. This grey could be a good match. It matches well actually with the grey over here. The white and the blue obviously match a lot of these, but it does nothing to bring this red in. So although it could work well, it looks fine, it doesn't add what I need it to. This pink is on the right track. It's not quite the pink that you would get by just adding white to this red, but it's close. And it's actually almost exactly the color of these flowers. So that's cool. Let's add this guy in. The other ones are similar to that grey. They would probably look good, but they don't help add that red in. So I'm going to say bye to those and look through my red and pink scraps, and hopefully there's something in there that will kind of bridge that divide between the red and the other colors. All right, here we go. I'm going to put this guy in the middle here. All right, I think this works now because of this floral. The darker background red here is a very similar tone to these two, the blue and the green. So these three in particular play really well together. Then the lighter red is pretty close to this original red. So a little bit of repetition, a little bit of variation, and I think it pulls the red into the mix well. As I was looking through the reds and the pinks, I also had a look for some multicolored scraps that could work to pull everything together more. And I think they just made it look too busy. I actually really like how in this mix right now, every fabric is its own color. And I'm not relying on that common advice of pulling all your colors from one fabric. I am going to show you this one because, I mean, check out how exact a match this is for what I've got up here. I have no idea what this is. I got it in a scrap pack once, and yeah, that's the only salvage there is. But it's got everything. I just think it makes it look too busy. So I don't think I would include this in a quilt top I made from this bundle, but wouldn't it be great as binding, I think? So now step 5 is leave it alone for a while and come back and reassess. So I'm going to go have lunch and then I'll think about this some more. Okay, I've made 2 additions here. I had both of these greens earlier and I didn't want to add them both, but I thought just having the one stood out a little bit. So I've added this one back in and I think it just balances the whole out a little bit more. So I like that. And then I added this one here, which is just the same fabric here, but with the light tan or cream color instead of the blue. I wanted another white background fabric and I like repeating simple elements like this plain pattern. Now there's just one more thing I want to do, and that's take this one out. I know I wanted to have the animal print to play in with this original one, but I think it's just a bit too much. I'm not loving it and I want something simpler, so I'm going to replace it with this blue from earlier. Now the other thing here is this other colorway of the original animal fabric. This dark peachy color is obviously a no-go, but the lighter color here actually matches really well with these leaves. So I'm going to add this in, ignoring the darker color. I'll fussy cut around that and just keep this lighter color, and then this is it. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Considering the starting point, I was kind of worried about how to make those 2 original fabrics work together, but we assessed what we had to work with, we set a color palette, narrowed down the fabric, checked what was missing, reassessed and finalized everything, and now we've got this fun little fabric mix that would work really well for, I'm thinking like a cute little toddler quilt or something like that. So I hope this video was helpful next time you're trying to combine 2 very different fabrics like these 2. Give it a go because it's pretty fun, even just as a fabric matching muscle exercise. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.